No, bro. I think that's I forgot. It's right there.
What? I've been sick.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
didn't want
you told me.
to.
Yeah, you told me, but like now you sound like you're like. Hey, you can say that same thing.
Get that power lock going. Alright, if you didn't grab a piece of paper from the desk when you walked in, please come and grab a piece of paper. There are the AP problems that we're looking at for today. Yes. We looked at a new derivative rule called product rule, and we're going to be looking at more examples of that today. There was in fact an IXL. So you will get some time to work on that IXL today. But first, we gotta look at some AP problems. I'll put my laptop here. Okay. So, my structure for how we're going to be working these AP problems today. I'm going to remind us about our notation. We're going to, numbers 2 and 3, you should be able to do already without any questions. Number 1, you probably should be able to do, but you may not realize you know how to do it. Does that make sense? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remind us of our notation. I'm going to remind us what it's asking us. And then I'm going to let you guys work at your table. I want you to collaborate with at least one person. So if you're sitting by yourself, you need to go to a table that has at least one other person. So please do not sit and be the only one at your table. Join someone at the table. Our notation that we have on this problems, on all three of them, is dy dx. Alright, what does this say? How do we read this? Do you remember? Alright, here's a hint. Look at your notes for your notation on derivatives. Look at your derivative notation notes.
the derivative of y with respect to x.
Alright, so derivative
If you haven't already, please take ABA attendance.
y
Our official attendance taking time is a CEA requirement that impacts the funding of all of our campus resources that support students and staff. Please stop what you're doing to take attendance at this time. Thank you.
So, what are the questions asking us to do? Take the derivative. So, we should have notes on that, we should have practice on that. I'll be walking around as your group if you get stuck on all of them. If you get stuck on problem 1, you definitely can do problems 2 and 3. And so try those. So I want you guys to work together. Make sure you pull the collaborative knowledge of your group, and then if your group gets stuck, then you can get my attention and get my help. So this one is not a quiz. This is a AP test prep type questions. These are multiple choice, right? So not all the AP questions are free response, which is why I'm giving you multiple choice today. So, and there are only 3 of them. After we work on this collaboration work, I'm going to have a update about policies because we have a new principal and he has policies he wants us to focus on. And then I'll let you guys have time to work on our IXL to get more practice.
Stop getting on your phone.
Yeah, one of those policies is remote policy. So, you should have at least one person in your group who has their notes open to our product rule notes. So you should be looking through your product policies. Yes, I know. All of this is even like focused. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Es que es lo que dices de...
So then, how did you choose that answer?
Luego se me olvida cómo fue. Cuando
So
nos
the-
volvamos a hacer esta vez.
I mean, you're pretty good at yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, last time when I was
You said product rule?
Yes.
that's the way I understand it, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just more like, I'm also impressed that you didn't choose it. I would also fix it, it just gets rid of the S.
Yeah,
A
but
ver si es que
I don't know what that is.
Exactly. Well, I'm just saying a good work, basically.
Oh.
Because they threw in answers to try to trick you. They had multiple ones that were flipped.
Yeah, but they didn't have to, I think this one has so I just said.
Good.
Stop.
Good method. One of the people at your tables should also have the notes from Wednesday if you want to see what we did differently
I don't think I'll have to.
then. Okay. Which is the right answer, right? Alright. This one, they actually factored. What is common sense? Yep. That means you're gonna have to use the X outside of parentheses.
No, you will not.
You don't know that.
Is there anything else?
Whose body is built like this? Please, bro.
Yeah, how many X's do they
You
roll
think we're gonna need this to do surgery?
You know that X here, right?
You think I'm gonna need this to?
Oh, no, you're not a doctor.
Alright.
You think I'm gonna use this to prosecute somebody in court? Like, no, I'm
You
not.
rolled at least one X.
What if you go down, they use my
That's a job for the detective, not for the judge or the judge or the lawyer.
No, this one.
What would this, okay, y'all are being fucking the white man got into your brain. Like, I just said, they're letting you think that you're, why do you think college should they have your core classes and then they have your major? Because it's not the same shit, and you know, like, your core classes to do.
You're not paying.
You could finish all out, right?
Dead ass, what does this have to do with it?
Like
I
child.
will.
So if you're talking, I'm assuming that means you finished at least.
We were discussing about how Daniela behaves kind of.
She said she doesn't need this class.
Yeah, she said it's not needed for her life.
I actually said, you guys started it, and I just continued.
So,
Like the back of politics.
unless you're going into a math field, this class may not be required for life. You are absolutely right.
But you need it for your
I have to do it
diploma.
right now, but I'm not saying that I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. But I was just saying, like, they got on me. He was like, I did not say that, bruh. He said, do you think doctors use this? And I said, no, I don't.
I didn't say that.
There are calculus problems that doctors, but they don't, doctors themselves don't necessarily.
Exactly, doctors
So
don't
what
do
if, like,
anything, they just approve what the nurses do.
What if they need to
So,
double check for the right answer?
They have to do it themselves.
Now, if you're going to a medical school, they are going to require you to do a lot of work.
I'm not gonna go to
Because you're lazy.
because I don't like math.
Less math, more biology,
Yeah.
and biochemistry.
And with biology.
It has a little bit, not much.
It's not super hard math.
Not
Chemistry,
calculus.
chemistry has more math than biology, right?
What you got?
Is this one like the one from the arts?
It's similar, yes. But then, so how would it work?
Is it the same thing that we were doing on Wednesday?
Yes, it's the same thing we were doing on Wednesday. You have the, you have to identify what is your fx, what is your g of x, split them apart,
What about it?
multiply them back together.
It is not. 3 days ago, like, oh, bro, my bad. You're not
Pretty productive there, Perla.
No one see the
I want you to be working on your
Wait,
problems.
this?
It is challenging. Alright, let's see what you got. So you're doing the first one, so yes, that's exactly right. She's doing that one. So yes, that's how you do it. So which one's matched with which?
So, for
Yep.
number 2, and I assume number 3
Yep.
as well, we're just using the product.
Exactly. So then all you do is rewrite it into our puzzle. And it gives you an x value, right? Where we at? So it means that's the x value it wants you to find the slope for after you take the derivative. So then you first need to take the derivative and find out what the derivative is. They don't give you the options to choose from, so you actually have to find that one.
You sent the product.
So,
Like, what product?
I need you to take the problem until you at least finish all three problems. Alright, you have your notes? These are all gonna work exactly like this.
Yeah.
You're gonna split them into two functions.
No, right on.
Choose one to be f of x, one to be g of x. So what would be your f of x in this one?
Stop!
I'm
That's
sorry.
what I was
No,
doing.
no, sorry.
What are you
Yep.
thinking about?
And then your g of x would be?
You're bullying me.
No, no.
Oh, I didn't really know
Yep.
you were like, if they get a little, I was like, you just think.
You can split them into two like that, right? And then you write out this stuff. Take the derivative of both.
You put it.
Es retroactive
If y
Well. Here's our derivative sign. Let me take notes on that one.
here, that's this.
What is the derivative sign?
Cosine?
Yep. Now, one of them is actually negative. Which one's negative? There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
Why are you saying it's like cut off?
Yes. You also need to replace this x.
And we're gonna say there's like a funny, and then you're gonna grow up like that.
How would you think that because they are like how you put these together. You need to put these
Good morning, Wendy.
find out what the numbers. And you're probably gonna need a calculator for the first problem.
Please step to the side. Express public for the one nation under God, indivisible, liberty,
Well, wait until college.
juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América, de la República que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Now proposed. Thank you, ladies.
What's your question?
Our vision is both high school will graduate 90% or more from abroad. So please, make sure your answers
Okay, let's find out. We're gonna multiply that x back in. Okay? So x times x is x squared, right? Is there an e to x for that one? So you have x squared ex, right?
Yeah.
You multiply x times x is just x squared. Is there an ex for that one?
No.
So does that match your answer? Alright. Find out. Like distribute the outside to the inside. If you distribute it, you'll end up, if you find the ones that are different, you can distribute them and find out if you have the right answer. What you got? Okay. So you did right, cosine squared, yes. Negative sine squared x, yes. Perfect. Now, you found the derivative, right? And I want you to find what's the slope at x at pi over 3. So what do you think you do now? Well, this derivatives are slope calculated, right? So what do you think if this is an x value, what do you think you do with? Yep. And I would recommend using a calculator for that one because unless you happen to remember off the top of your head what cosine of pi over 3 is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you only need a calculator for the first one, unless you remember the unit circle. I would have to actually because I calculated it. So let's find it. Pi over 3, so that is pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3. So then the sine is 1 of them is square root of 2 over 2. One of them is square root of 3 over 2. One of them is 1 over 2. So I just don't remember which one's which. Because that's the unit circle from pre-cal. I need to calculate it. That's what I'm saying. I need to calculate it real quick so I can answer that question. And if that's me calculator too. Make sure your calculator is in radians. Otherwise you will get a different answer. Okay? So I'm gonna use your work because you did the work right. So then I can use that to figure out. Did you get squared in there?
No. There's some more.
What were you trying to find out?
You're trying to find the slope at that point. Okay. Yes, Edmund, you're right.
How?
You're right.
Can I see your calculator? Can I see the word?
I got it.
I am curious. How did you get your answer?
So, I knew it was gonna be a negative because it was a negative, so I couldn't possibly figure out. I don't know, I just thought it was, 1/2.
This is for real. I'm gonna stop.
So how did you know it was gonna be a negative?
Because you asked me what I'm gonna do.
The negative right there?
Yeah, negative, I
But
got rid
there's
of
another
3,
negative.
so I just said, I definitely did each other.
Yep.
Yes, it does.
Is the derivative of that function is the cosine squared and sine squared. That's the derivative, so then you plug that into the derivative. So, I mean, that's what I ended up doing. You already had two signs, right? You had to multiply this sign by that sign. You get
It's
sine
mine.
I know.
squared. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you're
And
wearing.
cosine,
You don't
cosine,
think
so
so?
cosine squared and minus sine
Girl,
squared.
you gotta get like this.
But I didn't have it.
She don't.
So it's not guaranteed to be negative. Different values can give you different answers. So like say we did, I bet if you did, let's see if we do 2 pi over 3, see if that changes anything.
But
Stop.
I didn't even do
No, it's
anything.
still negative. So if even 2 pi is the same, it just
I
makes sense actually.
went to court.
I made it
Like
6.
in real life.
Okay, so if it was pi over 6 for example, you'd have a positive answer. Alright, you guys get answers for all of them yet? Alright, taking derivative yet? Okay, of that.
It's gonna be X.
What?
You had to use the product rule.
Oh, whoopsie. It's good.
You have to use the product rule. These are all product rules. Everything over here. Yeah, you're using the product rule for all. Okay, so you have sin x plus cosine x. Alright? Now. Huh? That is a great question. So, my question for you is actually very simple. Does this work for that problem or for this problem? Because you don't have a cosine x to take the derivative of here, do you? You have a regular x. Will that make a difference? I mean, this works very nicely for up there. See, that has a sine and cosine x, see? So the whole work you have here works very nicely for this problem. All the entire all four. Because you have a sine x. The sine x applies here. Cosine x does not apply here. So why don't you relook at that derivative and see if you can step Alright. Are we gonna figure this? Alright. So I'm gonna right up here for you is the answers, and we're gonna talk about each one, okay? Now that you guys have had time to collaborate, you've had time to work together, I'm gonna talk about each one a little bit. So the answer for problem number 1 is A. So if you didn't have A, you need to know it is A. Now we need to figure out, okay, why is it A? I know I had one person who had A. Hello?
These on the roll ice cream tickets for 8th period for those two.
For 8th period?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So during 8th period, you guys can get ice cream apparently? Okay. I don't know. Alright. So for the first problem, you had to take the derivative of sine x cosine of x, right? So in order to take that derivative, you had to use the product rule. You could not take the derivative without the product rule. So you need to identify one of them as f of x and one of them as g of x. Alright, so Angel, what did your table identify as f of x for that first function?
Yeah, we had trouble with that.
What?
We had trouble with that.
Okay, trouble with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move one table over then. What did you guys have for your f of x?
Sine.
Sine of x? Alright, what do you guys have for your g of x, your table?
Sine of x.
Oh,
wait, never mind. Sine of x.
okay. You guys could have had it mapped the other way. You could have had, like, as long as you have both of them on there, it doesn't matter which one you identify as which one. So if you had g of x as sine of x and f of x as cosine of x, that's okay. As long as you have both labeled as one function, they're individual functions. Alright, and then Edwin, what did you have for your derivative from sine of x?
Cosine of it.
Okay. And my front table here, what did you guys have for your derivative for g prime for g of x or cosine of x? What did you not get that far? What's up? The first problem. What was your derivative for cosine? I'll add the pi over 3 in a second. Oh yeah, negative sine of x. Alright, and it gave us an x value. It wanted to know what is this if x equals pi over 3, right? So one thing I saw the other day when I was at another calculus meeting is, you know how we like drew lines to these? This is actually would look the same if you did your an old skill. It's not actually what we're doing, but it kind of is. It'll work. So if you do this, the butterfly method, it'll work. It's the same thing. Now, it's not technically what we're doing. All we're doing is combining, but yes. And I had to do those two. So sine times negative sine gives me negative sine of x squared. And cosine times cosine of x would give you cosine of x squared. And then once you have this, that is when you start using your pi over 3. So if you plug in pi over 3 for x here, so it'd be cosine of pi over 3 squared minus sine of pi over 3 squared. And that's how you get your answer. This would end up being negative 1 over 2 or negative 0.5. And that's where we get our A as our answer. I had someone who was trying to get my attention. They walked up, I guess. Alright. Problem number 2. Let's see. This time instead of just directly telling you the answer, I want to hear what you guys' answers were. I want you to know it's okay if you had different answers from the other people. We're going to talk about it, so don't worry about it. Make sure you have had an answer. So, do you guys have the same answer? Or you guys had different answers? You guys have the same answer? What answer was yours? D. So this table had D. What did you guys have for problem 2? B. You had C. Okay. What do you guys have for problem 2? So which one? D. D. Okay. So D. We got some D's, some B's. I got a C. What do you guys have? B.
Is it A or B? We can choose between A and B.
So you guys were stuck between A and B? Okay. What about you guys? 2. So you have B? Alright. So what I noticed is that no one had E, which is great. E is the wrong answer. So no one had E. So we were looking at our answers. The answers I heard were B, C, or D. It's gotta be. We're gonna look at those 3, and we're gonna see which one is the one we need to worry about. Which one is our correct answer? Okay. So we have 3 answers here. One is sine of x plus x cosine of x. One is the same thing but with a minus. So I sine of x minus x cosine of x. And the last one was x sine of x plus cosine of x, and so it would look like that. Those are our 3 answers that we were stuck between. I'm gonna ask a couple of groups to share how they got their answers, so we can hear different perspectives and see what everyone did differently. So how did you guys get your answer? And if you say, if your answer is that you made an educated guess after trying something, that's okay. So was you guys correct? So, yeah. I can see that Yusuf took the derivative. He set up the functions. And his functions were, can you say what your functions were, please? X. And what was the other one? Sine x. He said f of x equals x, and g of x equals sine of x, and then you took the derivative, right? Which gave you 1. I'm adding the notation. And then this one was cosine. Okay. So you set it up like that, okay? And then you got D after you're putting it back together, okay? And how'd you guys get your answer? Educational guess, okay. What about you guys? Same thing? And then what answer did you guys have again? You had D as well? Okay. So the people who had it set up like that had D so far. What did you guys have? How'd you set it up?
The same way we got B.
Same way we got B. Okay. So what we got? I want to see what do we do differently. So what's the difference if we get rid of C because and just compare B and D? These are the 2 setups that we had the same setup and we got 2 different answers, right? So let's figure out what happened. Why we get different answers. Well, for one of my people who got D, how did you guys multiply it together? Or which ones did you combine? Did you draw arrows, or what did you do next? After you wrote this, did you just make an educated guess after that? Alright. No one from ID group? What about B? How'd you guys figure out B from the same setup?
We plugged it into the equation for the product rule.
And the product rule equation is
Derivative of f of x times g of x plus derivative of g of x times f of x.
okay. So which piece would, so then if we were following that, my first piece would be what?
1.
1 times, and my second piece? What would my second piece be from this table? Let me do this. What would my second piece be? So 1 times, what's my g of x? Sin of x. Okay. So what I have here, and I can only see that it doesn't look like I have an x times sin of x, right? I could, but it doesn't look like it. Alright, let's see what we got over here. So g prime. What is g prime of s one of my leases? How would you, what is g prime of x? Okay. The cosine of x, and then someone from my back table. Let's do Daniela this time. Alright, what is my f of x? What's the first function you see? What's the first thing you see?
F of x equals x.
So x is there. Alright, so then when I simplify this, I can't combine the sine of x and the cosine, so I can rewrite it as x cosine of x. So based on this, what answer would you do between B and D?
What was it? B? I didn't say.
B would be that. I'm gonna tell you guys what the last one is. The last one took a little bit of, you had to take a little bit of work of it, find the answer. The third one, your answer should have been C. Now, this one was a little bit more challenging because they factored it afterwards, right? They didn't just leave it nice the way you took the derivative. But I know, I saw a lot of people who had the setup of f of x equals x squared and g of x equals e to the x. I saw a lot of people had that set up, and I'm very glad to have seen that. That was very good. And then they had the derivative was 2x, and the derivative for this one was still e to the x. So that was great. And that's where it gets hard, right? Because they don't have any answer that has x squared e to the x plus 2x e to the x. None of the answers look like that, correct? Now, I know a very common one is if you saw this answer, you'd be like, oh well, then it must be A. So if you got half of your derivative, you would have that one. Another common thing that's pretty easy to do is if you took out 1x, it might look like it's x e to the x, and if you stop there, the closest thing that looks like that would be B. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, but it would be closest would be B. But one thing about factoring is we're gonna look at the common factors. So what's common between both terms here? And let's do roll. What the EX? Alright, so this is e to the x that's common, right? So if I take out the e to the x, I would have x squared plus 2x. Okay? Do we have anything else that's common? Braulio. Do we have anything else that's common between these two?
The X.
Yes. So they both have at least one x, right? So if I took out one of the x's, I would have ex, x e to the power of x. I take away one exponent, so 2 minus 1 plus 2. Now, does that look like one of the answers we have?
Maybe.
And so that's how you get C.
Maybe.
Are there any questions on the AP problems? Now, so side note, for the multiple choice question part of the test, you have about an average of 2 minutes per question. So in order to figure out how to define these quicker, you can do shortcuts, like you can note, well, since you see an x squared in the original, right? You know you're gonna have a 2x. So you know you're gonna have a 2 in your equation. Well, that doesn't eliminate anything, right? All the answer choices have 2. Alright. You also know you need to have, because it's 2 functions, you need to have a plus sign, right? And that eliminates one answer. A third answer can be eliminated when you note that the answer E does not have an e to the x, right? And then from there, if you take the derivative here, find this, you can see the answer D is out, and then you can factor the other ones. Well, not factor, distribute the other ones to find which ones right fastest. Okay? Alright. I'm not sure exactly how much more time we have, so I wanted to bring up some of the focus for our new principal, some of the things that he wants us to focus on. That way you guys are aware. These changes will come into effect on Tuesday, or not Tuesday, Monday, because this came into effect next week. So some of the changes that Dr. Gallegos has, that's his name, is Dr. Gallegos. Yes, he wants us to focus on 3 main policies. Alright? Something we've already been focusing on is IDs, right? So he wants to continue that focus and also include being stricter with the dress code. His focus is our dress code, which includes IDs. One other thing he wants us to focus more on is tardiness. So these are the things he wants everyone to be on the same page of. And the last thing he wanted us to focus on was cell phones. Do you guys know what the official cell phone policy is for the district?
No cell phone.
Always $50.
Only in cafeteria.
Only places in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Or for educational purposes in the classroom. So, if on Monday, if I came up and someone was on their phone, I'm going to borrow Kimmy that she's not on her phone. I'm going to use it for the example. So, if you were on your phone, I'd be like, I need you to put your phone up or it needs to go into our lovely thing. That's what happened on Monday, okay? So, on Monday, that is what's going to be happening. Okay? What?
And they want to get rid of C-days.
They do, but that didn't happen. So he's still having to talk to people about that. But I know he did send out an email to teachers saying that this is not going to be a C day. But then that didn't happen because of district stuff. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Every Friday should be a P day.
Okay. if C days get changed, it would be alternating A and B days. So one week could be A day, one next week could be B day. So on and so forth.
Like how you used to have.
Okay.
Huh?
Do you guys have any questions about AP questions? I want you to keep this paper because I want you to be able to reference it. We have an IXL that is due. I know we don't have time to work on it today. It's on the product rule. So if you, hopefully you got the stuff that we did today and added it to your notes. That way when you go to do the IXL, the product rule is going to be something you're able to do. The product rule is going to work the same way for every single problem type. You're going to break it into two functions, take the derivative of each one, and then do the cross. It's not technically cross multiplying, but it kind of is. Right? I know if you've already calculated it, you put that up. I know we didn't use the whiteboard today, so that's pretty much all we have.